traveling twins! Good morning, traveling friends! Welcome to part 3.1 of our Asian vlog. Today we are at the Noi Bai Airport in Hanoi and we are on our way to our hotel. From Siem Reap, it takes around 1 hour and 40 minutes to go to Hanoi by plane. We arrived at around 10 o'clock in the evening and we were picked up by the hotel airport service. After our Siem Reap adventure that day, we were so exhausted that night, so we immediately ended the night upon arriving at our hotel.
The reason why we included Hanoi in our list was because we wanted to cruise and explore Halong Bay, which is one of the new 7 wonders of nature and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We went with Glory Legend Cruise and they picked us up in our hotel at 7:30 in the morning. It took 3 hours to reach Halong City. We made a stop over halfway for refreshments and had our money exchanged to their local currency. And guess what? Vietnam is one of those countries that make you an instant millionaire. So we had our $200 exchange and we got a hefty 4.4 million Vietnamese dong. And we finally reached our destination. After the cruise briefing and check-in, we went on a mini tour of the boat. We now have started our cruise and at the same time lunch was served. We thought we only have to choose what we want to eat, but every Vietnamese dish listed in the menu was served, and we enjoyed every single dish.
Next on our itinerary is exploring the beautiful limestone islands of Halong Bay. We transferred into a smaller boat with other tourists, and here is where our exploration begins. One of the best experiences of this trip is being given the chance to do kayaking. We entered a cave and saw stalactites from above, and then we came out to the most beautiful cove we've ever seen. As much as we don't want to leave, we have to go back to our small boat for our next itinerary, which is the T-Top Beach. We climbed at the top of T-Top Beach for this beautiful panoramic view of Halong Bay. Then we had a quick swim at the beach, which boasts of its fresh atmosphere, clean water, and smooth white sand that create a great ambiance to relax. Then we headed back to the cruise boat for a relaxing afternoon. Later that evening, we were taught how to make Vietnamese spring rolls. We each had a turn how to make one ourselves and eat as much as we can after cooking them. Later that night, dinner was served as a presentation in the dark with music playing in the background, and the servers were lined up in sort of a cultural dance show, slowly distributing the food to each table. What you're seeing right now is actually a pineapple with candles inside and Vietnamese skewers around it. It was a pleasant surprise and definitely one of those experiences to remember.
The day started early on board with Tai Chi session on the sun deck. But for us, since it was raining that morning, it was an opportunity for us to sleep in. After breakfast, we were transferred by a small boat to Hang Sang Sot Cave. We have to walk up about 100 steps to the cave entrance, so proper shoes are highly recommended. Sang Sat Cave is one of the biggest cave in Halong Bay with beautiful stalactites and stalagmites. We continued to explore the cave and reached this spot wherein we had yet another amazing view of Halong Bay.
This, my friends, is where our Halong Bay adventure ends. It's time to go back to the boat and sail back to Halong City Port. Upon arriving in our hotel, we met up with our tour guide Ken from Hanoi Free Walking Tours, who will take us to 3 hours of Hanoi street food experience. This tour is free, but you have to pay for the food that you will be trying out, and it's also up to you if you want to give the tour guide a tip. We will link their website below in the description box if you are interested. Our first stop is trying out this Vietnamese snack made out of mixed fruits, crushed ice, and milk. It was very refreshing and you get to try out seasonal fruits in Vietnam that you don't normally get in non-tropical countries. Our next stop is trying out bún cha, a traditional Vietnamese dish served with grilled pork, rice noodles, herbs, Vietnamese spring rolls, and dipping sauce. We love it so much that we still crave for this even now that we are back in Australia. After that fulfilling meal, now it's time to burn the calories. Ken brought us along for a stroll in the city center. We visited St. Joseph's Cathedral, which is a beautiful Catholic church in Hanoi. Then we went to Hoan Kiem Lake, which is a gorgeous lake in Hanoi's Old Quarter. And then we reached the famous fountain at the Hanoi city center. Then Ken brought us to this supposedly hidden coffee shop wherein we have to go through a really small passageway in between shops and we have to climb up to the top floor of a 4-story building. But you know what? It was all worth it because the view of Hoan Kiem Lake at the top was gorgeous, especially at night. We ordered their famous egg coffee and it was a perfect match with the view that we had. After this, we went to the night market to buy some souvenirs. Then we bought this sweet dessert, which we honestly can't remember what it's called, so comment down below if you do know what it's called. We are now heading back to our hotel, and this is where our tour with Ken ends.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Ken!
You're welcome.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah,
Have a good trip in Vietnam.
Our final day in Hanoi was spent on another walking tour of the city, courtesy of Blue Dragon Tours, the company where we booked our Halong Bay cruise. They give free tours for customers who have booked a cruise with them. It's a walking tour of the busy streets of Hanoi. So this time, we are going to explore Hanoi at daytime, where all the shops and markets are open.
Many name street here. We give you the word hàng in Vietnam.
Since Vietnam's largest religion is Buddhism, we continued our walk towards Hanoi's oldest temple, the Bac Ma Temple. And the last stop for this tour would be the famous Hoan Kem Lake.
After a long walk, now it's time for lunch and some refreshments. And speaking of refreshments, we highly recommend Kong Cafe. Our favorite were their coconut-based smoothies. It was perfect after a day's walk under the heat of the sun. And of course, we wouldn't leave Hanoi without trying pho at one of the top pho restaurants in town, the Pho 10. And in all honesty, this was the best pho we have ever had. Definitely a must-try if you're in Hanoi. This perfect meal was a perfect end to our Hanoi adventure. Later that evening, we will be flying to Saigon, also known as Ho Chi Minh, so stay tuned for that. See you in Saigon! And may your traveling shoes always be comfy. Bye! Bye!